Welcome into another edition of Sports Junkies. I'm Steve Sparky, Fifer from Sports Radio 105.7 FM, The Fan in Milwaukee, co-host of the Wendy's Big Show weekday afternoons from 2 till 6. Here's Gery Woelfel from the Racine Journal-Times. Time to do a little Packer talk as we talk about this Packers football team that got their brains handed to them by the Buffalo Bills. I mean, they got their heads beat in. It was ridiculous. And
we called it.
No. But, I mean, it reminds me, you go back years ago when they had Brett Favre and Craig Newsome and Leroy Butler and all those guys. And they had to go.
Newsome?
Yep, well, the reason I bring that up, but, I mean, you had to go to San Francisco to win, then you had to go to Dallas to win in order to get to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And they went into San Francisco and pummeled them, similar to what happened to them, where they were up on the line of scrimmage, Wayne Simmons just beating the crap out of their tight end Jones, and just really out-physical them, and really the offense for the Niners didn't know what to do with it. In this game, the Green Bay Packers team, you saw blindside hit after blindside hit. Matthews got hit blindside. He got decleated. You saw T.J. Lang get laid out.
I'll bring up his name later in this segment, okay?
T.J. Lang got decleated and laid out. He had to be helped off the field.
Got a little physical.
Bills were serious. I mean, they were serious about what they were doing. This Packers offense and this Packers football team did not lose a football game because of the Packers defense. They lost this football game because of the Packers special teams unit, and at some point, somebody better figure out how to get any extra points and field goals blocked on this team, because it starts with that offensive line up front. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to put sole blame on the long snapper Good. If he doesn't figure out how to get his head up to block somebody, because right now, if you go back and watch that replay, he's still down, and both guys are like jumping out, using him to jump up.
Sounds like a comedy show.
It's ridiculous. So that's my number one beef. My second beef is on offense. Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy lost that football game. And Aaron Rodgers didn't lose a football game because he was off. Because he was off. They didn't lose a football game because they had 5 or 6 drops. They did have 5 or 6 drops, but that's not what they lost. They didn't lose it.
That was a big factor.
Okay, hold on. They didn't lose a football game even because Jordy Nelson dropped a touchdown pass down the right sideline.
That looked like the old Jordy Nelson we saw a couple years ago. But that's scary.
I still want to put in all that. With all that being said, you still should have won the football game. You want to know why? Because your running back was averaging almost 7 yards a carry, and you refused to give him the ball. That's why you should have won the game. That's on McCarthy, and that's on Aaron Rodgers. They're responsible for that.
My God, you go on vacation for a week and you get all this pent up angry.
It's the first time I've had a chance to talk about the game.
You just vent, you know?
Right, but that's why they lost. Plain and simple. You can't have a guy.
Who am I to argue after that presentation there?
Okay, so you agree?
No.
Okay, where we go?
I mean, that was a factor. I'm not disputing that. But all those drops killed him. That pass to Nelson was a game changer. Mm-hmm. That's 6 points. And for a veteran receiver of his caliber, he didn't even make a concerted effort to bring it into him. It's just like right off the fingertips, no big deal. In fairness to Jordan, he came back the next pass and made a great play. But the point is, you cannot let those plays slip away from you.
Sure.
They're too critical. That changed the whole complexion of the game. And the other thing is, Rodgers had an off game. That happens about once every 5 years.
Tell me the last time you can remember a running back on this team averaging almost 7 yards a carry being ignored.
Jim Grabowski.
It's ridiculous. I'm sorry, it's ridiculous.
You know who Jim Grabowski is?
No, but that's
you don't know who Jim Grabowski is?
I'm not as old as you.
Of course you're not.
No.
Or as handsome or shrewd.
Right, all of that. Right.
But hey,
right, all of that. But again, at the end of the day, that's really what it comes back to. And McCarthy cracks me up even further. Because as you said, I've been on vacation from the big show on the radio.
This is beautiful.
Sunday, McCarthy says, we didn't run a balanced offense, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Monday, presser comes back and says, yeah, we were balanced. Wait a second. What?
Hey, Steve.
Make up your mind. Were you or weren't you? And the correct answer was what he said on Sunday after the game, that they weren't balanced, that they should have ran the ball more. That was the correct answer. Now, I don't know what happened on Monday.
Well, it's obvious. He looked at the tape. That's what every coach does, right? He can't make an assessment until you looked at the tape.
Well, whatever. But it wasn't on the defense at the end of the day. What did you want to talk about concerning Clay Matthews?
Oh, okay. I'm giving this away now. The other day, the Packers picked their captains for postseason play, right? Mm-hmm. Aaron Rodgers, Jordy Nelson on offense. No brainer.
No brainer.
Jared Bush, and I forgot who the other one was. For
special teams.
Okay. Defense, Morgan Burnett, who I think is the most underrated player in the game right now. The guy has improved incredibly from a year ago, okay? The other one, do you know this? Or?
A.J. Hawk would be my guess.
No, Julius Peppers. Now, the voting is done by the players, okay? No Clay Matthews. What does that say?
I don't know.
I mean,
It's a good point.
I mean, this is a perennial Pro Bowler.
Right.
Supposedly their best defensive player. You had your two best offensive players, Nelson and
two best special teamers out of center.
exactly, and all of a sudden you got Julius Peppers, and I understand he's a veteran, blah blah blah, but that was interesting.
It is interesting, and I don't know why the reason would be why they wouldn't vote necessarily for Clay Matthews. Julius Peppers has come under a lot of heat.
And rightfully
and
so.
from what I could see on social media while I was off, he was under more heat, and I don't know necessarily why. I know everybody wants him to be something that he's not.
I agree.
Everybody wants him to live up to his potential each and every week. But as we saw in Chicago, the last couple of years he was in Chicago, there were games where he played with his hair on fire, and there were games where he just kind of went through the motions. And it really hasn't changed all that much. Right. It really hasn't. So when you need him, will he be there? That's what we have to wait and see. I mean, that's just it. And the other thing I was going to
hope for, I mean, a lot of times, and I've seen this in the past, players of his caliber have so-so regular seasons, but when the real bright lights go on, they show up.
Well, he said
I'm curious to see what he does in postseason play.
He said he came here to win a Super Bowl, and they're going to need him in the playoffs. But the other thing that's been brought up, and it's an excellent point, without Julius Peppers, they can't afford to move Clay Matthews inside because they don't have another pass rusher. So from that aspect, that's helping the Green Bay Packers defense immensely as well. And it'll be interesting to see what they do going forward with them. Next up in Tampa Bay against the Buccaneers.
You see what the spread is?
He shouldn't be that big of a factor. No.
It's like 11.5, I think.
That's probably right. Yeah. Tampa Bay, not that good of a football team, but remember this. Josh McCown played on the Bears, played against the Packers, did his thing against the Packers. Now he's in a situation to have what? Two big physical wide receivers against his Packer football team, like the Bears. Have a running back that can be like Forte when he's right, and Doug Martin, who's been right the last couple of weeks. So if he's healthy and is able to go, which I'm assuming he will be, if he is, you plug him in.
Right.
That is the team I think ends up making a move for Jay Cutler in the offseason.
Oh, my.
That team there.
Well,
Lovie Smith loves him some Jay Cutler. I think that may end up being the team that gets it.
I'll tell you another team. The Racine Raiders could use a quarterback next year, too, if Craig McCollum leaves. But anyways, Cutler's horrible. I am so happy that the Bears from the Bears standpoint, that they have come to the conclusion they're not going anywhere with this buffoon.
I don't think that's it.
He is the most...
I don't think that's it, though. Hold on one second. And people aren't talking about this nationally.
Yeah.
And I saw it tweeted out, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
There's an injury clause if he gets hurt that they're on the hook for more guaranteed money.
There you go.
So the reason it appears that they're sitting him isn't because they're giving up on him, but because they don't want to give him the guaranteed money or be on the hook for the guaranteed money after this year. So I think they're going to sit him the next couple of weeks.
He has like $38 million
Get out
or something?
Right, but none of it is prorated money, which means they're not going to have any dead money if they trade him necessarily. So from that aspect, it was brilliant by the Chicago Bears, the way they structured his contract. Now, the other team they trades for him obviously is going to have to take it on. But what's been pointed out has been there are so many teams in this league that need a quarterback right now for their football team, and they're not all going to be able to get one in the draft.
Wow.
Somebody is going to make a move for Jay Cutler. Not only will somebody make a move for Jay Cutler, I bet you money that somebody will give up a one to get Jay.
No way. No way.
I'm telling you.
All right, everybody, I'm making this bet right now. What? Dinner at Salute's?
Sure.
Okay, beautiful. Everybody?
That's fine.
Not one of these Greg Eason, I'll bet you a penny bet.
Gary, you just heard me describe that offense for Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Plus, you have a young tight end, Austin Seferian-Jenkins, who's like Martellus Bennett to a certain degree, but much younger, obviously.
Right.
And now you move Cutler in.
Number one.
You move Cutler in. But now, again, it doesn't have to be one this year. It could be a 1 in 2000.
The year 3000.
Yeah, but it could be a 1 in 2016, 17. But if I'm Lovie Smith and I'm going, okay, how do I turn this team around the quickest? If I can get a quarterback that can actually play to go along with my weapons that I have that are very similar to what they have in Chicago.
Are you still on vacation?
Gary, I'm telling you. And if I play my cover 2 defense and keep games close, I can win football games.
Not with Jay Cutler as your quarterback. I don't care how close.
They've got what? 2 wins, right?
Yeah.
I say if they get Jay Cutler this offseason, they'll have at least 9 next year.
Let's double our bet.
Okay, why?
If it happens.
All right, so 2 dinners?
There you go.
2 dinners. Fine.
I mean,
we'll see what happens. All right, what's your pick? Packers and Buccaneers?
Oh, Packers. Hands down.
Packers.
Of course, I predicted a blowout last week against the Bills, so take it for what it's worth. That team's schizophrenic right now, and that's not a good time to be schizophrenic.
No, I'll take the Packers to win this one too, as well. But that Buccaneers offense, if Josh McCown gets rolling,
Oh, please.
might be an issue. Just saying. You got one for the Bears.
Yeah.
Just remember. He is Gery Woelfel of the Racine Journal-Times. I'm Steve Sparky. Fifer doing a little packet talk on Sports Junkies here at RacineSportsZone.com.